skid.
I don't know what this is. Is this?
Oh yes, thank
You
you.
left that out.
Thank you so much. Oh, look, Big Booty Ho song. I did not. Whoops.
Well, it's just the mood for the day.
All I want for my birthday is. All I want for my birthday is a big booty.
Peace and love. I am Divine Karama. This is Radio Lex, the voice of the people. WLXU 93.9 LPFM, Lexington.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of Lexington Community Radio or its board of directors. The views expressed are solely those of the programmers.
You are listening to Off the Cuff. Now, here's your host, Adam Banks.
Welcome everybody to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks coming at you live from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening to us on the radio, you can check out our Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you can download the Radio Lex app on your smartphone device to listen to us anywhere in the entire world. Amber Turner and I are both broadcasting from the Deborah Hensley Studios here at Radio Lex on North Limestone. Amber, how are you doing?
Adam, happy birthday!
Thank you so much. It is January the 20th, 2022, and ladies and gentlemen, it is a big day because it is your boy's birthday. I am officially 34 years old, Amber. It is whenever you turn an age of any kind, it's a year of reflection, don't you think?
Of course it is.
It is my 34th birthday, and I'm in my mid-30s now.
You're an old man now.
Because mid-30s
Yeah.
is, what, 34, 35, 36?
Yeah, early 30s is 31, 2, and 3, mid, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7.
And 34 sounds old, don't it?
Yeah, you're old man status now.
Well, this is my birthday bash. This is Adam's birthday bash, the 34th birthday bash, I should say, celebrating 34 years of life. I love birthdays, not because of the recognition that it gives you from people. That's great. But I really, truly love birthdays for what they truly mean. I mean, it's a celebration of life.
Birthday cake.
It is your anniversary of living on this earth. There's a lot of people who don't get to see 34 years old. And to think people were like, enjoy being young while you can. Yeah, of course, but I'm also embracing every age that I get because it means that I'm still alive. I'm still kicking, Amber.
And birthday cake.
And birthday cake.
Yeah.
Hopefully you got me a DQ ice cream birthday cake at home.
Fat chance on that one.
But I have been here in this world 34 years, so I would like to consider myself a little wise, Amber.
You're seasoned.
A little bit seasoned, and studies do say that women find older men attractive, and one of the reasons why they find them attractive as older men is because of their wisdom.
Yeah.
They're seasoned.
Not their money.
Well, I'm sure that's part of it. But, I'm 34 years old, and I want to tell everybody, I want to share with some people the things that I've learned just from being here for 34 years, Amber. The first thing that I've learned after being here in this world for 34 years is that nothing is permanent.
No.
No matter how it feels today, it is not permanent. Unless it's that Playboy tattoo you got on your hip when you were 17 years old.
Or when you washed your hoodie with that pin in. That ink ain't coming out of that. That's permanent.
That's permanent. But situations aren't permanent. Good or bad, they're not permanent. It will change. It will eventually get better. Oh, and the things that are so great and wonderful, some people call that a peak. Some people call that just blissfulness. Those moments don't last forever either.
No.
So nothing is permanent. I've learned also here in my 34 years that it's very important to be independent, to not only be physically independent, but be emotionally independent too. I mean, I've set my priorities to invest in my future as much as I can. And I've not relied on anybody else to help me with that, because I'm not going to sit here and say I've done everything on my own. I've got nobody to thank. But you have to believe in yourself before you can make it happen.
Well, yeah, because if you don't believe in you, then nobody else can. And you embody that. And you show that to other people.
I've also learned in my 34 years, Amber, that relationships aren't everything. And I'm also talking about I'm not talking about sexual relationships.
Yeah.
Or intimate relationships. I couldn't think of the word intimate. That's why I said sexual. But I'm talking about friendships as well.
Yeah.
Friendships aren't everything. Now, don't get confused with what I'm trying to say. Friendship means the world to me.
He's
The
talking about me,
the few friends that I have, you know who you are. You mean the world to me. But I've learned throughout life that I don't need 10, 11 friends. I only need y'all.
I don't need you.
I don't need the 50, 60 people that could really turn up and turn out on a 34th birthday bash. I don't need that. I just need the very few friends that I have. Most of them listen to the show, so if you're listening, you know who you are. You're a true friend, and I love you, but I don't need everybody else to be my friend. And I've learned that in 34 years. I don't have to have a relationship with everybody that comes into my life.
No, you don't. And that's why the people that are in your life, that's why we respect you. That's why we want to be around you, because we know that your time is precious. Your time costs a lot of money, and I'm not talking about actual physical money. I'm talking about, the things that we do, the services that we do, and sometimes that's respect and friendships. And you embody that. That's why we like being around you.
Speaking of friends, my buddy Dan Pauly, host of Friends in the Corner podcast, posted on the show thread. He said, "Happy birthday to the OG of Lexington podcasting. Cheers, brother." Dan, that means a lot to me. Dan has a great podcast of his own, and that means a lot. Dan's a great friend, and I appreciate that. But some other things that I've learned, Amber, is in life, and I'm glad I learned this at an early age, and I don't mean cliche when I say this, you need to choose work that you enjoy.
Yes.
Life is short.
again, one of the things that you've taught me.
One of the things that you think of the most about really on your birthday is not just really just, you think about life. You think about death and life and how long you're going to be here. That runs across your mind. And it's so important that the little time that we do have here, we don't spend so much of it doing things we hate.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to do that kind of stuff because we spend most of our day at work anyway. Do something you enjoy.
Have fun what you're doing.
Every job that I have, and I have a lot, radio, teaching, I love them all. And I refuse to do a job that I don't want to do.
Well, you even have a saying for that. What is it? If you do a job you love, you never work a day.
Never work a day. I also have learned in my 34 years of life, Amber, that even Peter Pan ages.
Mm-hmm.
Even Peter Pan ages. Everybody ages. I used to think that I would never get old.
Like, okay, so do you mean you thought you would never look old, or that you would just never, like, embody what it meant to be old?
All of it. All of it. I'm not going to sit here and say I look like Tales from the Crypt. I'm not looking like that. But can I tell that I've gotten older? Of course. I can tell I've gotten older from a physical standpoint, from an emotional standpoint. And I used to not think that I would just get that way. But I've noticed a few silver whiskers in my beard.
I was going to say, I've seen a few on the way in.
I've noticed. But that doesn't bother me. It
No.
doesn't. It's a part of life. It's apparently the ladies love it.
Hey.
But everybody gets older, and sad but true, even your parents get older. Your grandparents get older. People that you love so dear get older too. And I've also learned too, to go along with that, to value your family like there is no tomorrow. Because the people that you used to celebrate birthdays with, aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa, you're going to look around 20, 30 years from now, they won't be there anymore. When you're 70 years old, it's very unlikely that your parents will be around. It's very unlikely that your grandparents are going to be around, even when you're in your 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So life as you know it right now will change. Just eventually, it's because of age. And I've learned that, Amber, I mean, that's some things that I've learned, but getting old, it's a blessing. I really do think it is. Your confidence grows.
Yeah, well, okay, so now look, you've told us the things that you've learned, but now look, 2021 was a huge year for you. You did a lot of things. You know, you purchased your first home, you built and purchased your first home. You know, so you've had a lot of crazy things going on, and it, you know, again, a hectic year, but here we are. You know, 34 years ago, I think at this time, you were not born into this world. And now here you are doing what you love on the day that you were born, which is amazing. I'm so happy for you right now.
Thank you.
Because I know that, you know, you're doing what you love, which goes back to the things that you've learned. You learn that you have to love what you do, and you do.
Yes, well, I do. And your confidence grows as the older you get, and you have more stability. You really do. I think about, I was talking to somebody today, actually, about how I loved college, how it was so fun, but I was so broke. It was such a stressful time because I had no money to do anything.
Would
and
you ketchup packet eating poor?
No, pretty much. But at 30 years old, or 34 years old, I can actually, if I want to do something, I can go out and do it. I'm not saying that I'm loaded with money, but I've been blessed enough to have a little bit more stability in my life at this age.
Well, yeah.
And it's fun at the age of 32, at the age of 34, to be able to go out and buy a house, buy a car, live in those things, and not have anybody say, well, that's mine. No, it's mine. And that's nice. That's nice. But Amber, it is my birthday, and one of the things that you hear the most on days like this for anybody is this song, the birthday song. Happy birthday to you, also known as the happy birthday song, is traditionally sung to celebrate a person's birthday. According to the 1998 Guinness World Records, it is the most recognized song in the English language.
Wow.
It's a traditional among English-speaking people that the birthday song is sang to you on your birthday. The song, Happy Birthday to You, dates back to 1893, but it was originally called Good Morning to You. It was written by two sisters living in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh.
Yeah, Mildred and Patty Smith Hill. The melody to Good Morning is the same melody we use today, but it's copyright expired in 1949. So the song used to be "Good morning to you, good morning to
Aw.
you, good morning to you, good morning to you," and now it's "Happy Birthday."
Aw. Well, I like it both ways.
Those ladies have made a lot of money off of this song.
Well, but I wonder if their patent, or what was it? Their rights ran out in the 40s.
Ran out in the 40s. So I don't really understand. I know that somebody owns the rights to
I'd be
it.
curious to know who owns it.
But even to sing the full Happy Birthday song in a movie, you have to pay for it.
Ooh.
So that's why you don't hear the full song sang.
Yeah.
But a lot of birthday traditions happen on this day. Being 34, I won't be participating in many of those traditions because I'm older, and when you're older, you don't really do. But maybe so. I mean,
What would you normally do that you don't think you would do now? Because I'm sure you probably will.
open a bunch of gifts, wrapping paper.
Well, I mean, we could go home and wrap some boxes if you want to.
You know, having cake and ice cream.
No, that'll probably happen by the end of the night.
I figured it probably would.
Yeah.
But those are some of the things that people do on their birthday. But answer me this, Amber.
Yeah.
Why or when did it become a thing when people would put candles on a birthday cake to represent how old you were?
I don't know, but it is something that I wish would go away because nobody likes wax flavored icing. And if you do, then please don't.
But it's a constant reminder of how old you are when you're sitting there eating your birthday cake, and it can be embarrassing the older you get because if you're
Yeah.
60 years old and somebody comes out with 60 single candles on your cake, that's gonna be a fire hazard.
Now look, what was it in the Wild and Wonderful Whites? It's the mother's birthday, and she says her age, and they come out and they've got the completely wrong age on there, and she's like 88, and they said, "It's mother's 78th birthday."
There was an episode on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Aunt Viv turned 40 and she set off the fire sprinklers because there was too many candles on her cake. There was 40 candles.
No.
But now they make people feel better by just having the number
Yeah.
on the cake. You just have the number of, like, for instance, it'd say 34. You
Yeah.
have 2 digits instead of just 34 single candles.
Well, maybe now with COVID, people don't want to be spitting all over the cake. Maybe that'll be a thing of the past.
And it was hard to light
Yes.
the single candles. They were always difficult to light.
Well, you had to light one and then take it all the way around and light other ones. That's what you had to do.
hmm
There was an art form.
And then you would make a wish before you blew them out.
You had to.
Did any of yours come true?
Yeah, I'm living them right now.
Did you wish for this as a kid?
And I wish I'd be hanging out with you all the time. Now here we are.
I think back about some of the things I wished for. I can't remember, but I would imagine it was probably very similar to what your answer was just now.
Probably not hanging out with me. It was probably on the radio.
Living the dream, though. Living the dream. I will say that. But it is my 34th birthday. Thank you to everyone who has said happy birthday already, whether it be on Facebook or it be through text or phone call. But I'm excited to talk more birthday things related, but we still have lots more things to talk about right here on Off the Cuff, so stick with us. It's going to be a good show. We'll be right back.
WLXU 93.9 LPFM Lexington, Kentucky.
Radio Legs and State Farm present Good Neighbors, Good Drivers. Did you know Kentuckians pay over $2 billion each year for car crash victims? Deaths and injuries that result from not using seat belts cost everyone in increased insurance premiums, medical costs, and property damage.
Hey,
In fact, citizens not involved in crashes pay
I've not had one cup
three-fourths
or one
of the
drink.
cost. State Farm and Radio Legs remind you wearing your seatbelt benefits everyone. Be a good neighbor, buckle up.
Bonta Apartments provides retirement housing for older adults who are independent or who require an apartment with accessible features. The building is subsidized by HUD based on household income. Sayre Christian Village admits and serves residents equally without regard to race, color, or national origin. Their mission has been serving older adults in the bluegrass for more than 35 years, providing hope, housing, and health care. For more information, please call 859-271-9000 or visit SayerChristianVillage.org. Bonta Apartments provide.
Radio Lex has the support of vinyl sponsor Tanya Jackson. Thanks, Tanya.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also in studio with me. Amber, last Thursday, we left the show and went and watched the new Scream movie.
Yeah, buddy, we squealed the wheels out of here to get there.
I was so excited to see it because it is my favorite horror franchise of all time. Let me just start with this. I enjoyed the movie. I did like the movie. Now, I think it's very important before we get into this, just to let everybody know that there will be some major spoilers about this movie. So if you haven't seen Scream 5 and you plan on seeing it, you want to turn the radio off right now because we're going to give some spoilers. And
How many spoilers?
To the point to where we're going to give away who the killer is.
Okay.
We're going to give away who the killer is, and we're going to talk about some people who perished in the movie.
Oh.
So 10, 15 minutes, jump back into the radio show. Maybe not that long, but
I was going to say it might need to be like 2025. We might still be going.
But it was a good movie. And it was part 5, an added movie to the franchise. Scream, it is a American meta horror slasher media franchise. And it includes 5 films, a television series, merchandise, and games. It's grossed over $617 million worldwide in box office receipts. The film series was written by a man named Kevin Williamson. Kevin Williamson, he wrote a lot of films, Amber. Films that you might be familiar with. He wrote The Faculty.
I don't say that now.
With Josh Hartnett.
Come on now.
He also had something to do with the Halloween H2O film.
Okay. Now, that's one of my favorites out of that one.
But it was directed by legendary horror director Wes Craven, the Scream series, all but the 5th one. And the 5th one was not written by Kevin Williamson, nor directed by Kevin Williamson. So a lot of people, or directed by Wes Craven, so a lot of people were afraid to see this movie because the original team wasn't there.
Yeah.
But Wes Craven died. And I think they did give him justice. I think he would be happy with the movie if he did see it. Scream is a very meta horror film. Yeah. And it does poke fun out of... It does exactly that in this one. It does exactly that. Now, Scream is the best. The first one is the best one. Of course, that's why we have all of these other Screams, is because of how great the first one was. I mean, Drew Barrymore was the star of that film. And everything was promoted around Drew Barrymore. When you seen the Scream poster, who was front and center on the Scream poster?
Drew Barrymore.
When you showed when they showed trailers and previews of the Scream movie back in 1996, they didn't show anybody else in the trailers other than Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
So the fact that Scream 1 kills off Drew Barrymore in the first 10 minutes of the first movie, it lets you know what kind of movie it's going to be, what kind of franchise this is going to be. Anybody could die.
Yeah, that's what made it an instant classic.
It was. Because before that, Psycho was the only film to ever do anything like that. They killed off Janet Leigh in the shower. She was the main character of the movie, and they killed her off the first 30 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
And people were stunned because you don't kill off the main character.
No, what's your movie going to be about then?
Well, Drew Barrymore was the main character of Scream. They promoted her as the main. They listed her on the call sheet. It's starring Drew Barrymore. Scream 1 starring Drew Barrymore. But they was doing that to flip the script on everybody.
To keep it, under control. We had no clue what we were going to be getting.
No. They knew exactly what they were doing, but it just made it even more iconic because Drew Barrymore did die in the first movie. The opening of the first movie. It's also a classic because you get introduced for the first time to the ghost mask.
Gosh, that costume that year.
Which is not changed. In the last 5 films, they've kept it exactly the same.
They have.
But the series, the Scream series, Scream 1 through 5, it stars Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette. They are called your legacy characters. They've been in all 5 of them. Robert Jackson also returned. He is the voice actor of Ghostface. And you don't ever see his face in real life. He's just a voice actor.
Yeah.
But they all returned for this one in Scream 5, which I thought is another reason why Scream 5 was a success. Because
the continuation.
They brought back the original characters. I hate it when horror movies, want to have a trilogy or want to have a sequel and not bring back the original characters.
Yeah, what are you building the sequel up for? Because nothing that we watched before is even here now.
Like if they had a Scream 5 and Neve Campbell wasn't in it, I wouldn't go and watch it.
No, I don't think that...
That's not Scream.
No, that's what I was going to say. I don't even know how that would even be possible to take away, especially looking at this franchise because it has been built around her. How could you take her and not have her be in it?
Yes.
You can at this point.
So in the 5th movie, of course, she was in the movie. Her screen time wasn't a ton, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the screen time being very little for the characters as of Dewey and Gale and Sydney. I'm fine with those screen times being short, as long as they're making appearances in the film.
Yeah, well, and they bring the punch when they do come in, so you don't need, drastic amounts of time. When Sydney comes in, we know, A, Ghostface is around the corner, B, there's about to be blood.
All right, Scream 5. Spoiler alert, here we go. We went and watched it. Some things that I loved about Scream 5. I love the fact that the person who is attacked in the opening scene of the movie survives. I love that because in Scream 1, 2, 3, and 4, the first person to get attacked always dies. But not only did the person that first got attacked in Scream 5 survive, but she made it all the way to the end of the movie.
And that's unheard of in any horror, almost.
A lot of Easter eggs were in this one. I love the fact that they played the Red Right Hand song.
You love that song.
They had Stu's house.
They did.
They had old characters. They had their relatives in the movie. You had Randy's niece and nephew and
his sister.
So you had a lot of Easter eggs. Now the killers in the movie I thought was funny because one of the killers' her name was Amber Freeman. And if those people don't recognize that name, I used to host a TV show here in Kentucky on Midday Kentucky. It was called Midday Kentucky on ABC 36, and my co-host, her name was Amber Freeman. And now Amber Freeman is slicing and dicing on Scream 5.
That's a fitting name.
But she is one of the killers, and the other killer, because there's always two, is the boyfriend of Billy Loomis's daughter. His name was Richie, right? Am I right about that? Richie? Was that his name? Reggie?
Something like that. It should have been no. Whoever cast him should have been no beside his name.
So they both were the killer. And the motive of why they were killing everybody is because the Richie, I think was his name. The killer.
Something like that, Richie.
He got obsessed with the Stab series, which, if you don't know what Stab is the movie about a movie. It was about
the figurative, creative movie they created
inside of Scream to talk about the things that happened in Scream. It's very weird. But they had like 7 Stab series. One of the killers got obsessed with watching the Stab movies, and he loved the first few, but then they started to get really bad. So he, being such a huge Stab fan, wanted to recreate the great franchise that it once was, and he thought in order to do that, he needed to bring back the original cast into Woodsboro so he could hack them all up and make a good movie out of it. Now, I started thinking about the motive. I think that it could have been better. I think they could have done more with it, but it still is very Screamish. The fact that it was horror film fans wanting to make a better horror movie.
Yeah.
The Scream franchise always kind of winked at the movies made me did it
Mm-hmm.
type of scenario. They love that kind of stuff. So it did have a very Scream feel. So I didn't hate it, but it could have been stronger, especially the fact that they ended the movie at Stu's house, because that's where Amber's, one of the killer's parents, now live. They bought the house from Stu's parents. But they could have done more with that, I think. What were your thoughts on the movie?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I mean, just like you said, like, I like the movie in itself. You know, I thought that the storyline had a great opportunity to jump off, but I'm sorry, we've got to talk about the CGI. Yes, folks, there's CGI in this movie. But it's not like Jurassic Park dinosaurs and, you know, the Matrix CGI. It's Skeet Ulrich CGI'd with his 1996 or his 2021 face on his 1996 body.
It was very
I've got
weird.
Questions.
Why didn't they just have Skeet Ulrich return and reprise his role as Billy, and just maybe have him talking to her just in like as a, what do they call that?
Like a voice in her head.
Or an alter ego.
Yes. Why did they have to CGI him? He is still alive. Bring him in. Say, hey, Skeet, you want to come over here and film a little bit?
Yeah, that didn't make sense.
No, none of that. So I think that is 100% when they lost me, when I seen CGI Billy in the window.
And finally, before we quit talking about it, they did bring back the 3 legacy characters. Neve Campbell playing Sidney Prescott, Courtney Cox playing Gail Riley, and David Arquette playing Dewey Riley. David Arquette's character, Dewey, dies in the movie. He finally meets his fate, and I think that it needed to happen because one of the 3 legacy characters needed to go. It's okay to have legacy characters, but you ultimately just need to end up with one.
But are we certain he's dead?
One needed to end. I think he's dead. I mean, they ripped completely up his back with that knife and with his stomach, like up his stomach. Yeah, he's dead.
I was holding on to hope.
So I think that death makes the movie more important. I think that without a legacy character death, that movie would have just been hogwash.
Well, now what are you thinking about Scream 6? Because I've heard people saying now that Scream 6 might actually...
I do 100% think there will be a Scream 6 because of the success of Scream 5. It's doing great at the box office. It had a really strong opening weekend. It's all about money.
Oh, yeah.
They don't really care what fans want.
No.
They care about what brings in money. This movie brought in money, so there'll probably be a Scream 6. The thing is I am all for it as long as they keep bringing the legacy characters back. Now you only got to bring back 2 to make me happy, but you better bring them back or I'm not seeing Scream 6. But ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to get that off my chest because Scream's my favorite movie. Wanted to talk about it on the radio.
Hey, we had a great time going to the movie theater.
It was.
Just in general, going to the movies.
It was fun. It was crowded like it used to be.
It was crowded.
It felt like 2019.
Well, maybe a little funner because it was a lot of excitement there. Everybody was there for the same movie. It was a good time.
It was. But ladies and gentlemen, stick with us. We still got lots more off the cuff after these words.
Retirement housing for older adults who are independent or who require an apartment with accessible features. The building is subsidized by HUD based on household income. Sarah Christian Village admits and serves residents equally without regard to race, color, or national origin. Our mission has been serving older adults in the Bluegrass for more than 35 years, providing hope, housing, and health care. For more information, please call 859-271-9000 or visit sarahchristianvillage.org. Forest View Apartments provides retirement housing for older adults who are independent or require an apartment with accessible features. The building is subsidized by HUD based on household income. Sarah Christian Village admits and serves residents equally without regard to race, color, or national origin. Our mission has been serving older adults in the Bluegrass for more than 35 years, providing hope, housing, and health care. For more information, please call 859-271-9000 or...
This is Renee Cobb, host of Overtones Live. Radio Lex is run by volunteers, your neighbors, your co-workers, and your friends. We're truly a community radio station, providing real alternatives to music and news that you'll hear nowhere else but WLXU 93.9 FM in English and WLXL 95.7 FM in Spanish. This important service isn't controlled or funded by corporate media conglomerates. Instead, it is only possible when our listeners join in and show support. Be an active part of the voice of the people. Visit radiolex.us/donate and support Radio Lex right now.
Radio Lex has the support of CD sponsor Bethany Hicks, State Farm Agent. BethanyHicks.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also in studio with me. Hopefully we didn't lose our entire audience after talking about that Scream spoiler. But welcome back. Amber, seems like since the year started we've been talking about people who've passed away, but we lost somebody else. Joe B. Hall, former University of Kentucky basketball coach, passed away this past Saturday on January the 15th. After Coach Cal's family was notified, they released it to the public. Joe Hall and Calipari were very, very close, so the relationship was pretty nice.
Yeah.
And Joe B. Hall, I look at his career and I look at who he was as a human being. Fascinating man. He was the coach back at Kentucky when coaches wasn't getting paid millions of dollars. You want to take a stab in the dark of what his salary range was?
Oh, probably a tip that Calipari leaves somebody now.
Around $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
So now Cal makes $8 million a year.
Oh my goodness.
Joe B. Hall's was $30,000 a year, and I think he got a raise up to around $50,000-$60,000 a year once he won his one and only national championship. That just goes to show the money that is now in sports. But back when Joe B. Hall was the coach, things were a lot different at Kentucky. And he had big shoes to fill. I mean, he replaced the legendary Adolph Rupp.
Oh, wow.
And that was some big shoes to fill. I mean, you're talking about a guy who had won 4 national championships, 4 national titles. And Joe B. Hall, he played for Rupp, which means he played for the Kentucky Wildcats as a player in the 1940s. And then Adolph Rupp hired him as an assistant in July of 1965. And then he was hired as Rupp's replacement from 1972 to 1985. He went 297 and 113 years with Kentucky. He was born just 20 miles north of Lexington in Cynthiana, Kentucky. Nellie, who used to be the co-host on this show, her mom and Joe B. Hall grew up together.
Well.
Yes. It's funny because Nellie was telling me that whenever Joe B. Hall would just see her mom in the street or checking her mail, he would go out and say, "Oh, hey, Mary, now, how are you?" Now, could you imagine John Calipari saying that to you when you go and check your mail?
No.
Hey, Amber, how you doing today? That's how it was. And that's how Joe B. Hall was. Very simple guy. And he reached the Final Four in 1975. It was Kentucky's first appearance since 1966. And they lost in the championship game that same year, 92-85 to UCLA. And the head coach of UCLA at the time was the legendary coach John Wooden, who went on to win 10 national championships.
Wow.
Yes. Now, 3 years after making that first Final Four appearance for himself, Joby Hall and Kentucky earned another banner to hang from the rafters at Rupp Arena. And now Joby Hall has his name hang there as well, because I think if you get a championship at Kentucky, they'll probably hang your jersey in the rafters. Look at Tubby Smith.
Exactly. I don't see why not.
The program also reached the Final Four in 1984, losing to Georgetown in the national semifinals. Joby Hall retired a year later at the age of 57.
Wow, that's
So,
a young.
Very young age. Things were a lot different back then.
Yeah.
He went on and had a replacement. That's when he was replaced by Eddie Sutton, and we've seen how that turned out.
Well,
the Kentucky shame. And we've talked about Coach Sutton on the show. We've talked about Kentucky coaches on the show. We've talked about Calipari a bunch. We've talked about Tubby Smith. We've talked about Eddie Sutton. But Joby Hall is somebody that deserves just as much credit as any Kentucky coach out there. He successfully coached them while he was there. He gave the fans what they wanted. He gave them Final Fours. He gave them a national title. And he was an ambassador of the state. Off the court, he was still a part of the program. Calipari embraced him the day he got to Lexington. Joby Hall was always at the games up until the point to where he couldn't. He died at 93. His last 2 years were a little rough. I don't think he got to go to any games his last 2 years of life. But 93, again, I'm going to say anything past 90 is great.
oh yeah, he's seen a lot.
Yes. But he was one of these people who, Joby Hall was one of these people who really got the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry going again.
Yeah.
It was once upon a time forbidden for Kentucky and Louisville to play. But they finally met up because they thought it was bad for the state. They thought it was bad morale for the state.
Yeah.
But they were forced to play in a national championship tournament because they met in like the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
So they were, or the Elite Eight, somewhere around there, and they were forced to play. And the rivalry was so big during that time.
Yeah.
Because it started, I think Louisville beat us.
Oh.
Yes, Louisville beat us, and so people started to think that maybe Louisville was the better team. So Joby Hall was like, no, we're not going to have that. So he put it on the schedule every year where they were going to play every year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, and now we play Louisville every year.
Yeah, it's still one of the biggest games in our season.
Yeah, absolutely. Joby Hall, he coached 24 players who were drafted into the NBA, including 5 first-round selections. He was named the National Coach of the Year in 1978 and the SEC Coach of the Year 4 times. 7 of his players earned All-American honors 11 times. So, very successful man. I think one of the biggest moments that stands out to me when I look at Joby Hall clips, because I wasn't alive when he coached, was a clip that I saw where he went into Indiana, defeated an undefeated Bobby Knight's Indiana team, and when the teams were lining up to shake hands, Bobby Knight slapped Joby Hall instead of shaking his hand.
Oh, no.
Going out the door. I mean, seriously, gave him a slap to the face, kind of like a good job, buddy.
Oh,
Now, rumors say that those two were close and they were friends. But when I saw that, I was like, my goodness, is it like that? Because you know how Bobby Knight was.
Well,
He was very, very mean.
now look, me and Bobby wasn't real good friends like
Mean man. But Joby Hall, 93 years old, we did lose a Kentucky legend. So our hearts and prayers go out to his family.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take off-the-cuff song of the week, and I think it's fitting, since it is my birthday, Amber, to do something a little different. It's not going to be very modern what we do. We're not going to play a modern song. I've decided to get back into the time machine.
Okay.
And I'm going to play you what the #1 hit was in America on the day that I was born.
Okay.
This is on January the 20th, 1988. Got My Mind Set on You by George Harrison. It was the #1 song in the U.S. on my birthday. The song went to #1 on January the 16th, 1988, and stayed at the top of the charts for 1 week. So this was only at the top of the charts for the week of my birthday, but it was still the #1 song the day I was born. So this, ladies and gentlemen, was the number one song in America when Adam Banks came to the world. We'll be back after the song. Enjoy. I got my mind set on you. Why didn't Wiley do a mad face?
Who did that?
Wiley. That's fun, isn't it? That you get to hear what the song, the number one song was in America the day you was born. That's fun.
Yeah, that's probably what the doctor was listening to when he rolled in to deliver you that day.
Well, it was only number one for a week.
Well, I mean, they probably played it to death that week then.
But it made me start looking up more songs, Amber, that was number one in my life on significant ages in my life.
Ooh, I love these.
Significant ages. Wouldn't you say that 1 year old being one is an important year? Well, this was the number one song January 20th, 1989.
I mean, if your first birthday had this as its theme song, it absolutely was a banging year for you.
Didn't Britney Spears redo this song?
Yeah, it's awesome too. Really don't care.
So my first year of life here, this was the number one song in America.
Very fitting for
My
you.
prerogative. Now, another significant age is, I would say, second birthday, because you know
Okay.
you're still being, you are still growing. You're
Yeah.
still in the developmental years of your life. So, when I was 2, this was the number one song in America.
Did you go to prom with Jesse and Slater?
No, but my dad used to listen to this song all the time, so I know all about Michael Bolton. All right, 5th birthday. 5 is pretty important because that's when you enter the school world.
And you really start remembering stuff then.
This was the number one song in the world, January 20th, 1990. It stayed at the top of the charts for 3 weeks. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. All right, now, I want to continue to do this.
Yeah.
So when we come back for our last segment, we're going to look at some more significant ages of my life, and we're going to see what song was number one in the country at that time. So ladies and gentlemen, stick with us. We'll be right back after these words.
Is racial discrimination threatening your housing, job, or access to public services? The Lexington Human Rights Commission is here to help. We investigate discrimination claims, and there is no fee for our service. If you have a discrimination complaint, you can file it online at lexhumanrights.org or call us at 252-4931.
Lexington Community Radio is proud to have the support of founding community partner and State Farm agent Deborah Hensley. Deborah believes in giving every member of our community a chance to let their voice be heard to unify and strengthen our city. To learn more, you can visit deborahhensley.com or call 276-3244.
Radio Lex has the support of corner sponsor Central Bank. CentralBank.com.
1, 2, 3, up. Baby, no mess up.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also in studio with me. Last segment of the hour. We were talking about on the last segment the number one songs in the world on significant ages in my life. Amber, when I was 16 years old, this was the number one song in the country. So this is when I got my driver's license. This is the song that people was banging the most in their car around our age when we were 16.
Now, was you banging this one?
The first mix CD that I had for my car,
Yeah.
you bet.
Absolutely.
You bet. Yes, this song was on there. But you know the song that I loved the most
Uh-huh.
was Slow Motion for Me. Slow Motion for Me.
I like it like that. Yes. Who made that mix CD for you, me?
I can't remember who did that. Probably. All right, another significant year in my life is 18 years old.
Yeah.
18 was a big one. I was officially a grown adult. I could buy cigarettes, tobacco. I graduated high school. I started college. Was officially, in the eyes of the law, a man. And the number one song, when that was happening, on January the 20th, 2006, was this song, Laffy Taffy by Dee Pharrell. And I'm going to go ahead and stop that because I'm not sure if it cusses or not afterwards. But the next one here will be my 21st birthday. And this song was the number one song in the country during my 21st birthday. Now, Lady Gaga had the number one song on my 21st birthday. I remember this song a lot when I was out with my friends because this was a big club song.
Well, yeah.
Back in the day, I used to be in the club. Lady Gaga, she's around my age, only I think 2 years older. So, of course she was making club music. That's what we were doing at that age.
Yeah.
This song stayed at the top of the charts for 3 weeks. All right, another significant age for me. I would say 25 is a significant age.
Yeah.
25, you're allowed to vote. You not allowed to vote. I'm sorry. Not allowed to vote.
Insurance drops.
Your insurance drops is what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
your,
stuff like that.
your insurance drops. You're 25. I don't think there's no mistaking that you're an adult by the age of 25. You are grown.
Oh, yeah.
You are an adult, so you cannot say that you're a teenager or a young 20-year-old anymore. But the number one song in the world on January the 20th, 2012 was Locked Out of Heaven by Bruno Mars. This was during my 25th birthday.
It's one of my favorite.
And finally, the last one that I'll talk about is my 30th birthday. Now, my 30th birthday was pretty significant because, hey, I'm turning 30.
Yeah.
This was the number one song in 2017, the year that I turned 30. This song went to number one on December the 23rd, 2017, and stayed at the top of the charts for 5 weeks. So I guess this would have been 2018, my birthday for 2018. But isn't that cool that you can actually go back and see all of the songs that were number one on your birthday? And I found this through a website. I think you might have been the one that showed me the website.
Probably.
But it was awesome. All I did was typed in my birthday, and it showed me all of the songs that were number one in my life or in America during that time in my life.
Well, you know, we always associate memories sometimes with, you know, music and the arts and things like that. It's a really good kind of glimpse back in time, walk down memory lane and have some good jams to do it to.
Absolutely. And we will end the show with the number one song in the world today. And this is the number one song on my 34th birthday. This is Easy on Me by Adele. And that wraps up another episode of Off the Cuff. You can listen to all of our previous episodes by subscribing to us on podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We release new episodes right here on WLXU every Thursday from 4 to 5. You can follow my co-host, Amber, on social media at Ambu447. You can follow me, the host, on social media at The Adam Banks. You can follow Off the Cuff on social media at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Amber Turner. I'm Adam Banks.
Happy birthday.
And this is Off the Cuff. It is my birthday. We will see you next week. All right, thank you guys.